Hello, my name is Cheryl Meyer, otherwise known as Cheryl M. Health Muse, and I'm also known as your friendly neighborhood health coach. And I want to welcome you to It Feels Good to Feel Good, Future Proof Your Health, which is going to be a weekly show on KGEM that shares lifestyle changes that you can make yourself to support your health. Why do I want to share this information with you? 7 years ago, after being a business owner for 20 years, I woke up one morning in just horrific pain, where every bone and every joint in my body hurt. So I went to the doctor. She ran lots of tests, and I went again, and she ran some more, and then I went again, and she ran some more, and finally, she called me and announced she was going to give me steroids, but that there was absolutely nothing wrong with me, and I should seek therapy. I knew there was something wrong. I hurt. So she told me that I would be on steroids for the rest of my life, and I decided I was not going to live a life of pain and pills. Why would I take steroids if there was nothing wrong with me? So I dug in and started to research and turn my business over to my staff. I found a functional MD who confirmed that I had autoimmune disease. And by making a series of significant lifestyle changes that I could do for myself, and these are the things that I want to share with you, 5 years later, I have returned to relative health. The best part is that I am now 70 and I feel better than I did when I was 50. I no longer hurt, which is huge. I will always have autoimmune disease, but losing the pain has been amazing. So I went back to school at 67 and became a health coach because I want to share everything I learned with others. And then I wrote a book called It Feels Good to Feel Good, Learn to Eliminate Toxins, Reduce Inflammation, and Feel Great Again, as the manual that I wish I'd had when I got sick. This book has now won 13 awards. So whether you want to future-proof your health and grow old with dignity and grace without dementia, chronic pain, and disease, or whether you already have a chronic condition like me, of autoimmune, cancer, or heart disease, and you want to learn about all the things you can do to improve your long-term health, or whether you want to improve the health of your families and raise healthy children, because 53% of our children have some kind of chronic condition today. I look forward to sharing all this information with you. It truly does feel good to feel good, so let's get started. I look forward to having you join me every week. Thank you so much. I'm going to be sharing the things that I did not know when I got sick, and hopefully this information will bring you a better tomorrow too. So thank you so much, and let's get started. Hello. Last week, we talked about the difference between organic, conventionally grown foods, and genetically modified foods. So I decided that the best place to start this week is to talk about food in general, because it's really the foundation of health. Food is fuel for our bodies. I think we forget this sometimes with what we put into our body, and we don't eat food in order to fuel our energy and our mind. If it's good fuel, it makes us clear-headed and it makes us happy. If it's high-quality food, it makes our bodies feel great and it will make our bodies sing. Good fuel tastes good. Eating real food, live food that fuels our body, goes through our body and feels fantastic. So, in fact, good food not only makes you feel great, it's well worth being the food that's eaten. There's a lot of bad food out there that also tastes good. Just because food tastes good does not mean that it's good for your body. So we're going to talk about what the differences are. Bad food gives us bloating, drops in energy, fuzzy thinking, and has addictive ingredients put into it on purpose so that we crave more of it. Bad food consists of synthetic ingredients that give our bodies no nutrients, so we don't have anything that we can function on, and that becomes harmful to our body. Often bad food is loaded with added sugar, which is also highly addictive and becomes very harmful to our bodies. We're going to talk about sugar later in the programming, but sugar is as addictive as cocaine, and yet it causes havoc on every system in the body. Bad food can be loaded with MSG, which is now in food under 39 different names. I think most of us know that MSG is not good for us, but I certainly did not know that since food companies figured that out, they weren't going to stop using MSG. They were just going to rename it and repurpose it to 39 different things. MSG is actually a neurotoxin. And I have a theory that if I can't pronounce it, I don't buy it. And if I don't know what it is, my body doesn't know what it is either, so I don't eat it, because my body will not be able to utilize it. If you're a child, this is even more important. So this comment is for all of you moms out there. If we want to safeguard our children to grow up healthy, we need to feed them real live food that's loaded with nutrients and that is not grown with toxins. Most chronic conditions begin in childhood. They may not rear their ugly little head till 20 or 25 years later, but they start when the person is a child. And the problem with that is their little bodies can't handle all the toxins. So they become exasperated by the bad food, the nutrient deficiencies, and toxic overload. And the theory is that when your toxins tip over the top into toxic load and toxic overload, that's the tipping point when chronic illness begins. It's possible to be this simple to raise healthy children. Feed them real food, give them nutrients, and they will grow up to be happy and smart children. Feed them what will serve their bodies well. Now, I commented last week, my body started to rejoice when I started giving it real nutrients. So it's really important that you keep in mind that what you eat is what your body functions on, and good food is critical. If you have a chronic condition, like I do, it can also be this simple. The body wants to heal, but you have to give it the nutrients that it needs to be able to bring us back to good health. There is no magic pill that's going to suddenly go abracadabra and take care of all the bad stuff that you have fed your body over the course of your life up until that point. There's no abracadabra for a magic pill that's going to make up for the fact that you were a couch potato and that you didn't move. We need to do the things that are good for our body all the way along, and then our bodies will take good care of us. So eat live food, preferably from a farm as close to you as possible. Eat food that is in season and that includes all the colors of the rainbow, both in vegetables and fruit. This will bring you back to relative health. Why is it important to eat all the colors? I'm going to do a whole show on all the colors of fruits and vegetables and what they bring to the body, but understand each color works synergistically with the others to bring you total health. They all have a gift, and each color gives you something different that allows you to be healthy. Orange, as an example, is really good for anybody who has cancer. So eating oranges and orange foods like butternut squash, those are really good if you have cancer because the vitamins and the nutrients in orange vegetables and fruit work together to help your body fight off the cancer. Why is it important to eat from a source as close to you as possible? Because then it has maximum nutrients in it for your body to function. You pick the vegetable and it goes into your pan and then into your mouth because it hasn't leached any of the wonderful nutrients that your body wants to gain from that fruit or vegetable. It may not eliminate your chronic condition, but it certainly will allow your body to function at an optimal level, and it will support your health. If you are well, it is even more important because it will help keep you well, because you'll be feeding your body the nutrient it needs 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now. And if you're healthy and you're eating good, real, live food that's organic, you are not getting that healthy dose of toxins that long-term is going to make your body sick. I read once, maybe 25 years ago, that if I was overweight, which I was at the time, it was because I was actually starving my body. That didn't make sense to me at the time. How could I be starving my body if I was overweight? Well, now I get it, because I wasn't feeding my body the nutrients it needed to keep me healthy and at a more normal weight. And it wasn't allowing my body to heal and stay healthy. So this is the important thought. Medicine is not health care. Food is health care. Medicine is sick care. And it's time that we see it for what it is. That doesn't mean we don't need medicine. It just means that the quality of food that you put into your body is important, because food quality matters. So food is health care. You cannot rely on medicine to make you well. Use food so that you don't go down that chute in the first place. So it makes sense that you should be prepared to pay more for organic, high-quality food. You're willing to pay more for a Cadillac or a Mercedes, and you pay for it because you believe and understand that you're getting more for your money when you buy a Cadillac or a Mercedes. And yet when we're buying food, we seem to think that good food is not worth the price, even though good food is one of the, if not the, most important thing that we buy. It's important to keep our body and the bodies of our families in good health. So good food is an investment in good health, in an unspoiled environment, fair treatment for animals, and for tasty eating. So I'm asking that you think about what you put in your mouth and into your body, and that you reframe it, and reframe how you think about high quality organic food, because it's one of the best investments that you can make with your money, because you're investing in your health. And until you lose your health, you don't realize how important it was. The reality is that poor quality food, conventionally grown food, is actually being subsidized by the government. Did you know that? It makes no sense to me that our tax dollars go to growing food with pesticides and herbicides, to food that is not respectful to our livestock, and that is destroying the environment. When we're using tons of pesticides and herbicides, all of that is going down into our groundwater, off into our streams, killing all the life that's in our streams and our rivers, and then it flows out to the ocean and is killing what's on the outer skirts of our oceans. One of the reasons that real healthy food costs more is because it's not government subsidized like poor quality food is. We're probably not going to change that. That started a long time ago during the Dust Bowl years in the 1930s. But we should be aware that that's one of the reasons that conventional food costs less than organic food. The government does not regulate what goes into conventional practices at all, many of which are disgusting right on the surface. So there's no surprise that conventional farming is less healthy, but it costs less because our government keeps conventional operations that gives them lots of money to keep the costs low to grow unhealthy food. And one of the things you're going to hear is that we need conventional crops because we can feed the world that way. Well, guess what? We haven't fed the world yet. And if we really are committed to feeding the world, then we need to stop wasting all the food that we buy, because that would actually feed the world. Conventional crops are not feeding the world. And what they are feeding us with is making us sick, and I believe that that's one of the reasons that our healthcare is so out of control. Our government heavily subsidizes industrial agriculture, making its products artificially cheap. On the other hand, government is very involved in regulating organic food. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Those farmers and ranchers actually jump through continual hoops to ensure that organic food is healthy. So when you buy organic food, you know that you're getting a quality product that's good for your body because it's regulated and it's controlled to be that. Our government is ensuring that healthy food practices are more expensive than unhealthy food practices. And on the bright side, the government regulations ensure that they meet a very high standard and that they are what they say they are. Now, you can actually afford high quality food if it's important to you. Ideally, I want you to cook 90% of the food that you put into your mouth. If you think real live food costs too much money, it's too hard and it takes too long, and you're relying upon convenience foods, these inexpensive convenient foods will not be so convenient when they make you and your family ill. In the beginning, it takes more planning to eat real food, but in the long run, it's been proven that it's not only not to be more expensive, but it actually doesn't really take very long to make. We are simply a society that has gotten into bad habits, and we're thinking convenience first out of habit. And convenience equates in our mind to out of a box, frozen with multiple ingredients, or from a fast food restaurant, or from a regular restaurant where we don't usually know what goes into our food. So could we actually take a second and reframe our minds to the fact that making a meal with real live food could take only 30 minutes a night? I make dinner in 30 minutes or less all the time. And one of the key things that I do in order to do that is I keep quality ingredients on hand in my refrigerator all the time. So when I take something out in the morning that I defrost, that's my main protein or my meat, I know I have lots of vegetables in the refrigerator that will be able to support that meal. So I'm not running to the grocery store. I'm not running and sitting in a fast food line. I'm just going into the kitchen and cha-bing, cha-bang, making dinner. And what I'm putting in my body is loaded with high quality nutrients. So where do we start? I think the most important place for you to start is to look at where are you spending your money now, and where could you save some of that money? Are you stopping to buy coffee in the morning? How much are you spending a week, and could you save that money for quality food? For one thing, you're getting coffee that's also laden with all kinds of herbicides and pesticides. It is a very dirty crop. So if you're making coffee at home, you can easily afford to get organic coffee, which is a higher quality coffee and isn't laden with toxins and poisons. I make my coffee by Melita, which is a glass pot with a filter. I boil water, and it takes just minutes to pour the hot water through the filter with the organic coffee in it, and voila, I have my morning cup of coffee. And then I have stainless steel bottles that I actually don't even close them off right away because it will keep the liquid hot for like 12 hours. So by the time you get to work, you still have a beautiful hot cup of coffee. If you're stopping on your way to work, trust me, that coffee is anything but nice and warm by the time you get to the office. So you're drinking a cold cup of coffee that's laden with toxins. The pot and cone are only $12.95 on Amazon, so it will pay for itself very quickly. And I'm not paying over $4 for my coffee at the local coffee chain. Now, I like a really robust dark coffee, so it's taken me some time to find an organic brand that I really love, but it's important that I drink an organic brand so that I'm not getting all of those icky chemicals. And I have settled on Mayorga Cuban coffee, and they run great sales. Every once in a while, I can buy my 5-pound bag of coffee for 40% off. So I'm on their mailing list, and every time they have a sale, they notify me, and that's when I buy my coffee. I buy it in bulk so that I have high quality coffee on hand all the time. If I'm not going to use it right away, I keep it either in the refrigerator or the freezer, and I have great coffee ready to go. Next up, how often are you going out to lunch with your friends at work? Add up that money and take your own lunch to work. I know you want to eat with friends, so take your lunch with you. And when you go into a restaurant with your friends, order an iced tea, but still enjoy their company. Food and loving being with your community do not have to be in opposition with each other. I take my own food into lunch restaurants all the time, and no one has ever complained because I'm buying iced tea, and they're hoping I'm going to come back next time and buy food from them. It might feel a little awkward in the beginning to take your own food into the restaurant, but you're doing this for your health. Your friends will understand, and it's unlikely that the restaurant will object. I do it all the time. By taking your lunch with you, you're ensuring that you're feeding your body quality food that is organic and loaded with nutrients. I'm going to actually give you some suggestions. I'm going to do a whole thing on food and how I cook quickly and what kinds of things I make. But for now, let's just say by making your own food, you're controlling what you're putting into your mouth, and that's important. How often at night are you going out with your friends for dinner or to go drinking? Eating out costs more money than cooking at home. So how about you start a supper club and everybody takes a turn and you go to somebody's house at night and either you cook the dinner and then the next time they do, or you do a potluck so that everybody makes something that's healthy. Now, there's a theory called 3 degrees of separation. I know you know about 6 degrees of separation, which means within 6 degrees you can meet almost anyone in the world that you want to meet. 3 degrees of separation is about the fact that who you immediately surround yourself with is going to influence your habits and your lifestyle. So it's really important that your friends are as into health as you are, because that will encourage you to stay in health. So whether it's obesity, smoking, alcohol abuse, or whether it's happiness, love, success, people who are 3 degrees away from you will impact your emotions and your habits, and they impact your health. So foster relationships that support your goal of being happy. Invite friends into your supper club based upon how committed they are to healthy eating. And cooking for each other will bond you together closer, and you will support your efforts to eat well and feed your body what it needs without giving up the joy of community. It makes getting together really fun. So I strongly suggest that you have a supper club. I also strongly recommend, if you like to read at all, that you start a book club and you all get together, you make your treats and you make them healthy. It's a great entertainment, and you all pick a book that you all read and make that social time with your community. It's a wonderful way to spend time together. Having a separate club will also significantly lower the cost that you have for drinking alcohol. How much does a glass of wine cost when you go out? How could you better use those funds? And for the same cost, how could you share that it would take to share a bottle of wine in a restaurant? You could actually buy a really good bottle of organic wine. And grapes are really dirty. They have more toxins sprayed on them than almost any other fruit. So it's important that even the wine that you drink is organic so that you're not getting all those sides. Remember CIDES? We talked about this last week. Sides are things that kill things. So you're not getting those pesticides and herbicides in your wine. You can also save that money of not drinking out, so you get more money to buy a higher quality bottle of wine, and you're not frivolously spending money by drinking out. So I'm not even remotely suggesting that you stop drinking. I'm just suggesting that you find a way to save part of that money to support purchasing healthier food. Let's talk about snacks. And let's start with why you want them in the first place. A healthy meal where you get all your micronutrients, which are your carbs, your fats, and your proteins. If you eat all three of those with each one of your meals, it's going to be likely that you're not going to be hungry for a snack in between meals. If you detox off the sugar and you detox off the MSG, you also have a better chance of not being that hungry between meals. Because what happens when you're eating synthetic ingredients and MSG and sugar is you're turning off the hormones in your body that regulate appetite. For any of you who have had a difficult time losing weight, this is important. I thought I had a problem with willpower. Guess what? I was addicted to sugar, synthetic ingredients, and MSG, and it had nothing to do with willpower at all. So I would eat a big Thanksgiving dinner, and then my body would immediately start screaming, more, more. And I knew I couldn't possibly be hungry. I had just stuffed myself at the dinner table. And the reason that was happening was because I was addicted to ingredients in the food that were addictive on purpose to make me want to eat. So if you're eating all your micronutrients and you are detoxing off of the sugar and the synthetic ingredients and the MSG, you're not going to be as hungry in between meals to want those snacks in the first place. So let's say you still do want some snacks though, something to munch on before you get to the next meal. Make your own snacks. It's not that hard. Stop buying all those junk food snacks and even organic junk food and start making your own snacks. You can make your own protein bars. They're not hard to make and they're really very delicious. Probably more delicious than those things you're buying out at the store. You can make spiced nuts. It's pretty easy to do that, and you can find recipes for these things on my website. You can take celery and nut butters, or keep prepared cut up vegetables on the top shelf of your refrigerator, and then eat it with homemade hummus, which only takes minutes to make. How do you make homemade hummus? You take a BPA-free can. Sprouts, everything is BPA in their canned goods under their own label, and many things now at Whole Foods are also BPA free. So you take a can of organic beans. I happen to like white northern beans. You drain them, you throw them in your food processor or in your Vitamix, and you add a little bit of garlic, a little bit of onion powder. Sometimes I like to add sun-dried tomatoes. I like to add a little sea salt, and I like to add a little tahini. And with just a couple of pulses with your finger on the motor of the appliance, bing, you have a delicious hummus that is just real food ingredients, and that's really delicious. And that goes well with your celery or your carrots or your vegetables. You can also bake occasional treats like Daniel Walker's Real Deal chocolate chip cookies, which are made with almond flour and are absolutely delicious. And you eliminate chocolate chips that have soy in them. I use a chocolate chip that doesn't have the soy in it because soy is 90% genetically modified, which means it has Bt toxin in it. And we talked last week about why you don't want that. I also make a recipe from Nom Nom Paleo called cherry chocolate scones on a regular basis, and both of those are delicious and they satisfy my sweet tooth. And they don't make me crave more right after I eat them, which is really terrific. You can also make your own crackers. Believe it or not, it's not hard to make crackers. And they're much healthier than store-bought crackers, and they don't take a lot of effort. Again, I have a whole blog about crackers that you can make at home. So you're controlling what you're putting in your mouth, and then you find spreads. You can use nut butters, or you can use hummus, or you can make baba ganoush with eggplant, or you can make your own cheese spreads, which you soak cashews, and then you zap them in your blender, and they become a lovely creamy consistency and become your own cheese. There's lots of fun things you can do that are quite yummy and are also quite healthy for your body. Next up, you can stop drinking soda and fruit juices. My doctor said to me when I found a functional doctor that I had to stop drinking fruit juice because it was like rocket fuel. It could send me up to the moon and back because there was so much sugar in it. And I bet you don't know that most fruit juices have as much sugar in them as Coca-Cola and Pepsi and other pop. So you need to stop drinking sodas and fruit juices because they're really not good for your body. And they're loaded with sugar, which your body doesn't need. The best use for soda, and I'll talk about this in another show, but the very best use for soda is to clean the bumper on your car. It's that corrosive, and it's really that bad for your body. So if you want to stay away from pain and stop inflammation and return to wellness, you want to stay away from soda and fruit juices. Drink water that has added lemon in it. That's really good for your body. And I have bought half-gallon glass bottles on Amazon that I fill with filtered water, and then I put berries in it, or cucumber and lemon slices. I put mint in it. I put different things in the water. And if I want that fizzy, I use sparkling water. And that's what I drink instead of fruit juices and soda. And my body's happy drinking that. It's just as delicious, but all of the really icky ingredients that are not good for my body are gone. If I want it to be a little bit sweet, I actually buy the powdered stevia leaf. It's green. Not the stevia that's alcohol-based, but the powdered stevia leaf. You can buy it on Amazon. And that's what makes it a little bit sweet. And your body's going to thank you because this is another step to being well. And think about how much money you spend on empty calories in soda and fruit juice. So you're also saving all that money that's not giving your body any fuel that it can use to be healthy with. These are some of the things I put into my half-gallon jugs. Berries and peaches, blueberries, lemon and cucumber, raspberries and mint, strawberries, kiwi and basil, raspberries and lemon, watermelon, cantaloupe and honeydew, strawberries, mint and orange, pineapple and ginger, cucumber and lavender, mint, basil, lavender, rosemary and thyme, apples and cinnamon. Apples are really good for you, by the way, and very low in sugar. And tangerine, grapefruit, and strawberries. They're all yummy in filtered water that's cold in your refrigerator, and then you have it all day long that you can serve it to yourself and drink it and be healthy. This explanation was taken from another health coach called Why You Are Really What You Eat. The phrase "you are what you eat" is literally true. Nutrients from the food you eat provides the foundation for the structure, function, and integrity of every single cell in your body. From your skin to your hair, to your muscles, to your bones, to your digestive tract, and your immune systems. You may not feel it, but your body is constantly repairing, healing, and rebuilding itself. Here's how it works and why what you put on your plate is so important. Every cell in your body has a shelf life. Your stomach and intestines have cells that line the surface of the stomach, and they have a very difficult short life because they're constantly battered by corrosives like stomach acids, and they typically only live 5 days. Skin cells live 2 weeks. They fare a little bit better, but every 2 weeks, all the cells on your face and your skin replenishes itself. Hair lives a long time. Hair actually lives about 6 years for women and 3 years for men. A red blood cell only lives 4 months. If any of you are diabetic, you know that you get an A1C test that measures your sugar level that's going to cover a 3 or 4 month period, because you have new cells getting made all the time for your blood, and that's a good measure of how well you're doing with the sugar you're putting in your body that's going into your blood. Your liver, which is your body's detoxifier, and it purifies a wide variety of contaminants in our system. It's aided in the process by a constant blood supply, and it remains largely immune to damage from toxins that are going through it all the time because it can renew itself with new cells every 150 to 500 days. Your bones, the cells in your skeleton system, regenerate almost constantly, but the complete process takes a full 10 years. So your bones last longer than almost everything else in your body, but it makes sense because they're harder and they're what's giving your whole body support. Skeletal muscle cells. The lifespan of your muscle cells is 10 to 16 years. So cells and muscles last even longer, but still 10 years. What you put in your body today will be impacting what your muscles are made of 10 years from now. And one of the most exciting and important recent discoveries is that brain cells regenerate throughout your entire life. We now know that neurogenesis, the formation of new blood cells, is not only possible, but it happens every day. Until recently, they thought that you had the same brain cells that you were born with. You never got new ones. You had to take care of the ones you had because you weren't going to have them. If something happened to them and they got damaged, you weren't going to get them back. They now know that that's not true. Now, different brain cells in different parts of the brain regenerate in different time frames, but it's exciting to know that our brains are also regenerating. One of the articles I read yesterday were that profanols and flavonoids can actually increase the brain's ability to regenerate. Now, what are those things? Those are compounds that are in fruits and vegetables. So when you eat, I'd really love you to think about making 3/4 of the food that you're putting into your body fruits and vegetables, preferably organic, so you're not getting those toxins in there with them, so that you're getting a healthy dose of profanols and flavonoids. Now, what are some of the things that are profanols and flavonoids? I use curcumin for pain, for my autoimmune disease. That comes from turmeric. Quercetin comes from several plants, and it's really good for the gut, it's really good for our kidneys, and it's really good for our brain, and it also is a profanol. Resveratrol, which comes from the skin on grapes, is a profanol. And all of our fruits and vegetables have some kind of flavonoid, which are some of the chemical things that work together to make us healthy. So it's important that you know that your body is busy making new cells every day. And it's how well those new cells are is directly determined by what you've been eating. A diet that's filled with highly processed food, that's low on nutrients, doesn't give your body very much to work with. I always say that it's like constructing a house with cardboard and tape instead of bricks and mortar. A clean, nutrient-rich, whole foods eating plan can help you build cells that work better and are less susceptible to premature aging and disease. One of the things that sugar does to your body is it ages your skin. So if you want to look good, I'm 70. I'm happy that I'm maintaining a little bit of my youthful appearance here. But if you want to stay looking young and having a mind that doesn't have dementia, what you're putting into your body in terms of food all makes a difference with what happens with your body. On top of all that regeneration, remember that you are always repairing your existing cells, and that includes recovering from wear and tear of exercise as well as everyday life, which is stress, pollution, stubbing your toe, because your body is essentially one big miraculous 24/7 construction site, and you can change the way you look and the way you feel pretty quickly. One of the things I tell clients that work with me is try eating real live food and cooking for just 2 weeks. Because in 2 weeks, pretty much your body's going to start to celebrate and you're going to feel the difference. And once you start feeling really good, then you're going to want to keep feeling that good, because when you stop eating all that good nutrient food and you start eating that crud again, your body is going to feel that as well. So this explains why the change to a healthier diet and to cooking and eating real food improves how healthy your skin is, how high your energy level is, how you feel when you nod in with your body. And I want you to ask your body, how does it feel on a regular basis? Had I been doing that, I wouldn't have gotten autoimmune disease at all, because I would have known that my body was getting sick. But it flitted past my mind so quickly I didn't stop to think about it. And I want you to get in the habit of asking your body when you wake up in the morning, how do you feel? Because your body will tell you if you're treating it right or you're not treating it right. Eating makes your body sing. So nod in with it and find out just how good it feels. There is power in eating nutrients, and when you think about it, that's a downright miracle. So, how do you save on healthy food? I have an entire list, and I'm going to put a link on my website, which is for Monrovia, about 30 ways that you can save on healthy food that you can download for the next 2 weeks for free. The first thing is, this area has a new food service called Imperfect Produce. What is Imperfect Produce? They call it ugly fruit and ugly vegetables, because they're the ones that grow with kinks and knots, and it's not beautiful and perfect. So the grocery stores have rejected it. But it's still loaded with great nutrients, and maybe even more so because it's coming from a local farm. So it's going to go from farm to your table very quickly. So you can call Imperfect Produce. You get to pick what goes into your box. You can pick an organic assortment, and it saves you 30 or 40% on the price of what it would have been at the grocery store. So that's the first way that you start to save money. The second is you want to follow the Dirty Dozen Clean 15 card. You can also download that on my website, CherylMHealthMuse.com. I have a free copy of the Dirty Dozen Clean 15 card available on my website. And what does that mean? EWG, the Environmental Working Group, every year puts out a list of what the dirtiest fruits and vegetables are that are loaded with the worst toxins, and what the cleanest fruits and vegetables are. The dirty ones are 12. Sometimes there's as many 18 on the Dirty Dozen. And the clean ones are usually 15. Things like broccoli are on the clean list. If it's on the clean side, you don't have to buy it organic. You just buy it because it doesn't have too many toxins on it, and it's really good for your body. If it's on the Dirty Dozen, you really need to buy it organic. It could have as many as 70 different poisons on it. I think a potato has something like 56 different toxins on it. And really, you don't want all those toxins in your body because they're not going to do your body any good. So you start with the Dirty Dozen Clean 15 and figure out that that's where you're going to spend your money. On the Dirty Dozen, you're going to buy organic, and on the Clean 15, you can buy conventional. Imperfect Produce is available in Los Angeles, and they deliver. So you don't even have to go to the store to get it. Next up, I want you to learn to shop at farmers markets. Now, Arcadia has a new farmers market. I haven't been to it yet, but I have been going to the Pasadena Farmers Market up by the high school for a long time. And it may not all be certified organic, but they're all grown without herbicides and pesticides. So get to know your farmer. Ask them how they grow the food clean. And it's probably been picked that morning or the night before, so you're getting maximum nutrients from a farm-to-table vegetable and fruit by going to a farmer's market. The other beauty of going to a farmer's market is you're buying in season. And if you're buying in season, you're getting what's in abundance. And the laws of abundance work. What there is abundance of is also what's least expensive. So you're getting the best possible prices on the produce that's available at the farmer's market at that point in time. There could be community-supported agriculture CSA programs. I know Pasadena has one, and I understand that there is a CSA program that delivers to one of the churches here in our neighborhood. So that's another way where you actually contribute to a local farm's operating expenses by getting a box of fresh vegetables and fruits of whatever they were growing at that period of time, and you shared in the cost of producing it. So you get some of the foods as a result of that. You can join an organic co-op. So you get to place bulk orders with organic suppliers to obtain the best wholesale prices. If you have a Costco close to you, and we do, they are now carrying organic produce, and it's considerably less expensive than organic produce from some other local stores. Trader Joe's has a lot of organic produce, so that's another good option for you. Check with your local grocer. Most of the grocery stores around here now have organic vegetable and fruit sections, so it's not as difficult to find anymore, so you can ensure if it's on the Dirty Dozen, you're getting good organic produce. Buy in season. You get better prices when it's in season. Purchase things unpackaged. We have a local organic market where you can buy many types of organic or gluten-free flours or seasonings, beans, dried fruit, and take them home in baggies. And because you're buying them in bulk, you're not spending a lot of money for packaging that's just going to go into landfill. So try to buy things in bulk. You'll save yourself money, and you'll save the earth money by not buying all that packaging that's going to get wasted. Prioritize that organic dairy, bone broth, gelatin, lentils, bread, and wheat products are organic because they have a very high level of glyphosate in them. What's glyphosate? Glyphosate is Roundup, which has recently lost several lawsuits because it's now come out that they've known for 25 years that what they've been spraying on our crops as Roundup is actually causing cancer. Roundup is also being sprayed on schoolyards and golf courses and public places. I even caught my gardener spraying it on my lawn one day and stopped it because it's bad for him and it's bad for me. So you want to make sure that you stay away from those things, and those are the products that have the most glyphosate. How else can you afford healthy food? Eat less meat. I think it's important to eat meat. I tried to go vegan and I did not feel good. So I perfectly understand if you want to eat beef, chicken, lamb, and pork, but buy quality meat that eats its natural diet. So you want beef that eats grass, because that's his natural diet, and you want him to be grass-fed and grass-finished. Now that's more expensive, so you want to make sure that you only eat as much meat as the palm of your hand. I eat what's called pagan. It's a cross between paleo and vegan. So I'm eating meat, I'm eating quality meat, I'm just eating smaller portions because I'm eating more vegetables on my plate. Eat more vegetarian meals and have a vegetarian night, like Monday could be a vegetarian pasta night. Use coupons. Since our grocery stores are now carrying organic food, they all have coupons because they want you to buy your food there. So look for coupons and use them because they're going to save you a lot of money. Shop for sales at your local grocery store. Stop eating out so often. One of the things that grossed me out when I started studying food is, have you ever wondered why restaurants have so much variety on their menus? Well, many of them actually are taking out baggies of food and zapping it in a microwave. And that's how they can have such an assortment of different things to eat. So you're not eating food that's any different really than what you could be making at home without the frozen factor and all the ingredients. And they're loaded with icky ingredients so that they taste really good. They actually have gotten food tasting good down to a science that they'll add whatever it needs into it. It doesn't have to be nutritious, but they figured out how to add things that make it taste good even if it's not good for you. Careful how much you drink out. Invite your friends over to your house and drink there, as we talked about earlier. It'll save you a lot of money. Take your lunch to work with you, which we talked about. Remove sugar from your diet, which we talked about. I'm not talking about the little bit of sugar you put on your cereal in the morning. I'm talking about all the processed food that's loaded with sugar that's bad for you. Filter your water on your sinks. What comes out of your tap, you think Flint, Michigan is unusual? We're going to spend a whole show talking about nothing but water. But cities all across America have water that's disgusting. So be very careful what comes out of your tap, filter it, and then don't drink it out of plastic. Buy stainless steel bottles and drink it out of that. Stop buying sodas. We talked about that. Make your own snacks. Doesn't really take that long. Takes a couple hours on a weekend and you've got enough snacks to make it through your week. Bring your own food when you travel. John and I never stop for food when we're on the road, and we're going back and forth between LA and Sedona all the time. We actually bought a little refrigerator for the car so we can keep our food cold, and we have all the food that we need for the trip right on us. Stop buying junk food. It's all empty calories. There's nothing in junk food that's good for you. Freeze your leftovers so that they become meals later in the week that will save you money because you already paid for it the first time you ate it. Look for grocery store owned brands. That will save you money. Start a garden, and even better yet, have your child help you garden, because the more they understand how food is grown, the better chance they have to be healthy for the rest of their life. If you can't get organic in the winter wherever you're at, then eat frozen organic, because that gets picked and quick frozen right away, and so it's still loaded with nutrients. So don't let the fact that you live somewhere where you can't get fresh organic food stop you from eating healthy. Can't get quality meat? When I can't get meat from my local grocer, I buy from Wellness Meat in Missouri. Most of the functional people buy from Wellness Meat, but make sure that it's grass-fed, grass-finished, and know that sheep like grass. That's what they eat, so you can always eat sheep. And I try to buy something called heritage pork, which is pastured pork, when I'm buying pork. And then you want free-run chicken. You want chickens that run around outside and eat their natural diet, which includes bugs and berries and grasses, because that's when their meat tastes the best and that's when their eggs taste the best. And they're not loaded with hormones and antibiotics and all that other icky stuff that's making us sick. And then finally, there is a grocery store that I buy from. It's a membership. I think it's $45 to join. It's called Thrive Market. And All of my hard goods that I can buy, I buy from Thrive, because once I pay that $45 for the year, I save 25 to 40% every time I order. And again, they deliver. So you want convenience? Find it in a different way. Buy from people who deliver directly to you, but give you quality food to put into your bodies and into your family's bodies. So that's it. That's how to buy healthy food and eat healthy food. And if you start eating healthy food, your body's going to be happy, and it's going to tell you that it's really thrilled that you have taken your body and your health seriously, and that you're now feeding it only the good stuff, because in the long run, even 20 years from now, your body will still be celebrating that you fed it great food. And just one last comment. 53% of our children have some kind of chronic illness. I'm going to say that several times throughout the series of shows that I'm doing here, because I find that completely frightening. 53% of our children have chronic illness. So if you start buying real food and you start cooking and you talk to your kids about the importance of eating real nutrition, and if they become influencers with their little friends, the 3% of influence, you're going to make a huge difference to how those kids grow up and how productive and how good their brain power is when they become adults. So this is really important message for any of you out there who are parents. So thank you. That's my foundation about food conversation. And next week, we're going to go back to talking about food from a different angle. I'm going to share with you why color is important, what each color brings to your body, and how they all work together. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.